Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this super exciting semifinals game one here of the Challenge Cup tournament. Joining me here in the booth today is James FNX and Dane8373. On trackers is me and DM and Scoopula. I never say DM's name right, so we're going to just forget that. And without further ado, I'm going to throw it over to our wonderful commentators who will take you through this Game 1 semifinal.
Thanks, Jinxie. Welcome to the Challenge Cup semifinals. On the left-hand side, we've got zerorush. And on the right-hand side, we got Phant, and we're getting things kicked off right away. I'm joined today by Dane. Dane, how's it going?
I'm doing great. Ready for this exciting semifinals match in the Challenge Cup. Once you get all the way this deep in the tournament, you know you're in for some skilled runners and some fun execution.
Absolutely. As we start out with the shield in Link's house, as we'll find out what weapon we get here. As it is throughout the entire tournament, we're doing standard mode, the normal item pool. So our uncle's going to have one of 7 weapons for us. A sword, fire rod, hammer, bow, one of the 2 cannons or bombs.
Yeah, we'll see what they're going to get today. And we're getting the Cane of Burna today, which is generally one of the least favorite items for runners to get.
Yeah, it's a hard item to farm for bombs with, because it's very tight on magic usage. Getting everything you need is our runners find Quake in the back of the secret passage, but it is one of those things that you just can't really farm efficiently with because you need to use so much magic to kill all the guards you need to kill and the key rat at the end. So we see zerorush trying to figure out what the drop table is. We find a heart drop. I don't know if Zero saw a drop at all in the secret passage or not. If we're on potentially the big drop train or the health train only.
I don't believe we've seen a drop from anybody prior to that one heart, so I think we still have a chance to be in the fairy drop pack. If we see another heart, then we would know, like you're saying, that we did in the heart drop pack. And yeah, like you were mentioning, it's really hard to farm for bombs. So if they find the guards to be in that fairy pack, you might see the runners take out like a lot of those snakes in that one room with the Cane of Burna, because you can get a nice multi-kill, be efficient with your magic. But if they don't figure out if it's the fairy drop pack or not, it might not be worth trying.
Yeah, and the nice thing about that fairy drop pack is that there is a full magic before those bombs. So if they do decide to farm the snakes later on in the escape, they will get a full magic and a refill on their Burna usage, even if they don't quite get to the bombs in that room.
All right, we see that fairy there, so they are going to be in the fairy drop pack. So like you're mentioning, probably will see them farm that rats, because you can at least get that full magic even if you don't get the bombs.
Yeah, zerorush knows what pack he's in. Phant, however, does not know what pack he's in yet. So we'll see how things go as we continue on escape.
Yeah, we'll see if Phant may elect to try to chuck a pot at the green guard to see if he can get the next drop in this pack. And unfortunately for him, does not see the fairy come out.
Yeah, smart to use that pot to kill that green guard. At least get a look at it. It's just a piece of heart here in Zelda cell. One more chance though for bombs in chest. Dark Cross will have something other than a key. We've already found our small key.
Yeah, could still have the map, but yeah, I definitely still have a chance to get bombs from that as well. So we'll see if Phant's going to elect to risk some of his magic to try to get some multiple kills on the snake hallway. I'm sure we'll see zerorush do it since he knows he can get full magic and bombs from them.
Yeah, for zerorush, that full magic drop is the next drop in the fairy train. So just needs to get one of these snakes to drop an item for him to refill that magic bar. Phant though is 2 drops away, so smart here using those. Actually, there's a bit the green 20 as Phant does see that fairy finally. So I believe now is the magic drop and then bombs after that.
There's a red rupee in there. I can't remember if
the red rupee just dropped. The red rupee just dropped for zerorush. So I think.
Oh, for zerorush, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, then it'll be magic and the bombs. But good to see both these runners have the same information about the drop pack, so they'll get to both make an informed decision. There's even magic you can pick up in this little area if the runners are feeling like they want to get a little bit of extra magic for the Cane of Burna.
It's a little bit out of the way, though. You have to go left instead of right in that area.
Yeah. And there you see you have zerorush able to get the multi-kills, as is Phant, and they both got their 8-bomb pack, which is very nice. They'll be set for both Back of Escape and for Kakariko.
Yeah, those 8 bombs are going to be very welcome as a big green 20 or a red 20 in the Dark Cross chest. We'll have 3 more coming up here at the Back of Escape.
Yeah, and looks like zerorush actually missed the magic drop. So
yeah, I think I misspoke on the magic drop. It is after the bombs. zerorush only got the bombs and didn't get the magic. Phant got lucky and got all 3 of those drops in one fell swoop, killing those ropes.
Yeah, so luckily you have the bombs to fall back on, so you're still able to defeat Kira. It takes a little bit of extra time, but nothing too out of the
and
ordinary.
the difference between 6 bombs and 7 going to Kakariko is not a big deal.
Yeah, and you see that demonstrated here by these runners both deciding to spend the extra bomb to save a little bit of time. Like, it generally, like, the difference between it was when you're 4 or less, because like you need at least 2 to get the top 2 before buying bombs, and if you have 3, you can at least check all the items, and then finally 4 will let you get all the items, including the race game.
Right. So Phant, the first one out of Escape. We'll see what is in Sanctuary here. Nothing doing in those back 3 items in Escape. Just a heart container here. So did find Quake, but not a ton of progression stuff in the Escape sequence today.
Yeah, getting Cane of Burna start followed by only Quake Medallion being your other trackable item. You're not feeling too great about that Escape, but there's still plenty of items left in this early game. We'll see if the seed is going to still be stingy after Kakariko, or if these runners will have some sort of items that give them clues as where to go next.
Runners choosing not to check out Lumberjack Ledge. This level of play, you don't want to give up that much time to your opponent making a check that is highly unlikely to have anything of value.
Yeah, neither of them have the boots. They're both pretty set on money or bombs, which is kind of the other reason you might want to check Lumberjack if you want to do an extra tree pole or an extra bush crab. But both these runners having 5 and 6 bombs and 380 rupees are set in that regard.
Just a piece of heart at the mushroom spot, and our first glove is at the hideout. So one piece of the puzzle here in the Lost Woods. Both runners grab those, and they're going to make their way to Kakariko, where there's a ton of items to take a look at for both these runners.
Yeah, the glove doesn't do too much for us right now, but you always like to see those gloves because they give you access to Dark World if you get either another glove in the Moon Pearl or the hammer in the Moon Pearl. I guess so. The early game checks that the glove itself will give you is it will let you go up to the mountain. Generally, you'll need a lamp as well to kind of help with that, but you can go in the dark, and you can also get into the back of desert if we need the other pieces to get to desert, but that's one of the other things that's locked the gloves in the early game.
Yeah, I imagine both these runners are going to have no problems at all making that climb up Death Mountain if they find a hook shot or a mirror with just what they have right now. But nothing so far here in Blind's Hut.
Yeah, pretty stingy at Blind's Hut. Must have been dumpster diving today rather than actually stealing goods. It just has, I guess the blue mail can be nice convenience, but other than that, nothing too nice in here.
Just some fresh threads back in the back of the closet. 5 more items come up here in Kakariko Well.
Yeah, we'll see if because right now you're kind of just going to stay on track to your normal Kakariko checks, and as for what to do next, they're probably just going to do the South Shore right now because haven't really gotten anything to speak of this seed yet.
Yeah, nothing has really pulled either of these runners in any sort of direction. We find our Moon Pearl in the well. That is a relief to find Moon Pearl early. You're not gonna have to like hunt in some weird location. You already have your glove too, so you're 2/3 of the way to Dark World access without having to deal with Aghanim Tower.
Yeah, you like it when you get that close because now they have 2 pieces for Dark World access and 0 pieces for Aghanim access. So that does tip the balance into the favor that you're probably not going to have to do Castle Tower, though Randomizer can do very strange things at times.
Yeah, rando is gonna rando, as the community likes to say. Nothing going in the chicken hunt as we do get our map check. I saw Hera is a 5/6 and Eastern is a regular crystal. I didn't quite catch Desert on the map check though. As we
Desert's
find our
also a 5/6.
three big crystals in Light World as we find our first sword in the back of the tavern. Could line things up for a very quick seed with 3 crystals in the Light World.
Yeah, you do like to see that. Sometimes Desert Palace can be annoying with either having trouble getting into it or being boots locked and the boots being hidden. So we'll see how that one goes. But yeah, so oftentimes those Light World dungeons are such quick dungeons that you can have a pretty nice seed.
Yeah, nothing in the library. Zero Rush going to take a look at the Maze Race item. It is a mushroom, and Phant will pick up a little bit of time back, choosing to do this item blind.
Yeah, sometimes you basically go through like, how are you feeling about your Kakariko? If your Kakariko was relatively barren, then maybe you feel more inclined to do the no-look strategy that Phant did here.
Just finding Moon Pearl and a sword in Kakariko, Phant does make the decision to check blind. We'll get that mushroom. Don't know if it's going to be anything just yet, but is another check and a potential for a piece of sequence breaking later, depending on whether we find that Kina Samaria sooner or later.
Yeah, and I think this is a great time to turn in the mushroom. You're going to do the save and quit to Link's house anyway. You can just set up the fake flipper here and turn in the mushroom if that's what you want to do. It doesn't look like Phant wants to do that right now, but it is an option.
Yeah, I might be inclined to do that fake flipper immediately. Both the runners, though, are just going to head to the dam and get the 2 items here.
Yeah, because oftentimes those fetch quests early will pay out because the earlier you get them, the more likely they are to... there's just fewer things that you can get because you have less available checks, so the one check has more value.
Exactly. 50 rupees inside the dam. We'll take a look at what's floating. Just a little more cash. Not going to go after that. Might have been inclined to grab those rupees. You're very close to Zora money as it is right now. You got a Moon Pearl. You can set up a fake flipper.
Yeah, I agree. Because and you don't always see the early fake flippers quite as much, but this seed has been pretty barren. They have the money, Zora's and Logic, and like you mentioned with the Moon Pearl, they can sequence break the Waterfall Fairy as well.
Yeah, Zero Rush did grab those 20 rupees and is heading over to Agnes Cave while Phant makes quick work of Mini Moldorm with those bombs. Does pick up another 50 in here. Does have that Zora money. We'll have that option for a fake flipper in just a bit. Nothing going in here, though. Nothing in the Mini Moldorm Cave other than a heart container and some cash and provisions.
Yeah, the normally exciting 5-item cave today. I mean, we got Blue Mail and the Moon Pearl, and that's really about it from those locations.
I didn't catch what was on Desert Ledge for Zero Rush. We're going to see what's in Agnes Cave for him, though.
It was a heart piece on Desert Ledge, I believe.
That's not going to get it done. Neither is 50 rupees.
Yeah, this is a bit of a unfortunate seat so far because we might have to do... I feel like the next thing you probably want to do is go over to the Eastern Palace area. Maybe you'll get bailed out in Sahas that'll have something, but you might be facing just a dip into Eastern Palace that we can't clear.
Yeah, Zero is going to head over to Mini Moldorm Cave. Ice Rod Cave only has 10 arrows, so nothing on the South Shore at all. We'll see if Phant heads over to Eastern Palace. Looks like he's going to head over and walk this mushroom over from Sanctuary.
Well, I'm wondering if maybe he wants to go get the save and quit spot on the mountain. Or no, I don't know. Where is he going?
He's walking it over, so it's a little bit faster if you get a fake flipper immediately to fake flipper over to the warp spot in swamp area to get over here. But Phant just choosing to walk it out.
Don't often see that bridge in the randomizer. So we'll get our first look at this fetch quest, which definitely makes a lot of sense because we're down to this fetch quest plus Eastern Palace and Sah's Hut, and then Zora is in Logic as well.
And they're the mushrooms, so that is a very, very big Very, very big pickup for Phant. We'll see how long it takes Zero Rush to go turn that mushroom in. That is Dark World access for Phant.
Yeah, that's really nice because you don't really want to go over to the eastern area right now with not being able to complete that. And then that Titansmith will let you go into the Village of Outcasts, which not that much better because the dungeons over there, I mean, you can beat Thieves Town, which may or may not be a crystal, but you're going to have to leave behind the big chest, and you can't beat Skullwood. So we'll see if they get anything else to make their decision for what to do next a little bit nicer.
Yeah, it's always an interesting decision whether you want to hop into Thieves Town hammerless or not. It really depends on how much other stuff you have and how likely it is that that hammer is going to be what is blocking you from the rest of the seed.
And we're seeing Zero Rush is going to elect to do that fake flipper. And we see our map check now, we see Turtle Rock and Thieves Town are normal pendants, and then our green pendant is on Pod.
Yeah, so that'll make that, if Zero Rush does decide to hop in Eastern, it'll make it a little less punishing because owners are not going to necessarily want to loop in Pod and Eastern together when Pod is just a green pendant. Zero Rush doing this fake flipper play. Let's see what's at the man under the bridge while Phant hops into Skull Woods.
Yeah, there's a slight chance when you do what Phant's doing here that you can get locked out of Skullwoods if there's no keys in here and you have to save and quit. So we'll see. Hopefully that doesn't happen to him here.
Yeah, it's the big key chest a little rough when all you have is a sword, a fighter sword, and no real ways to stun or control the Gibdos at all. So we'll see if there's a sword here. There is one item that's our fire shield.
So Phant's going to need to get a key here, else he's going to have to save and quit because he'll be trapped in here. All right, very nice, because you hate when runners get trapped in Skullwoods and have to save and quit and then just walk back right here.
Yeah, it's a real big time loss because there's just no quick way to get back over to Village Outcast as of yet. Find our second key for Skullwoods in the map chest. Bombos and 20 rupees in the Waterfall Cave. So that Bombos is flipper locked. We'll see if that Bombos ends up being relevant either for an Ice Palace entry or Misery Mire.
Yeah, you get potential for Ice Palace, Misery Mire, even dipping Turtle Rock, but don't really want to think about that. But yeah, you definitely like to have Bombos because it's got a little bit more utility than the other medallions since it lets you also do Ice Palace. Nothing
on Bumper Ledge for Phant. Did not do the big key chest. I didn't see if there was a second item in Skull Woods for Phant.
Shield. I saw shield and compass, and then 2 keys.
Yeah. So no second item there. Choosing to leave that last available item behind for now. Don't hate that decision at all.
And on that Zora ledge, we saw, I believe it was the red boomerang, and Zero Rush electing to not get that.
And Zora had nothing but provisions for Zero Rush. So. Options starting to run out for Zero Rush. Gonna head up the mountain and take a look at those 2 items that are out of logic, but are collectible. As Phant's gonna head into Thieves Town.
Yeah, because I think Zero Rush is just down to that mushroom and kind of putting it off for now. It's always worth it to get that save and quit point at the mountain, so you can always kind of justify an early trip up there, as long you only really will get punished if you end up getting the flu relatively quickly.
Yeah, Phant picking up the blue boomerang as the first item in Thieves Town while Zero Rush smartly grabbing a little extra magic from that bush crab. So we'll be able to use that can of burn if things get a little bit hairy on Death Mountain. It can be a bit of an adventure. Those boulders don't really care about you or your health.
Yeah, and I guess on the off chance that he were to receive the hammer from the old man, then he could go over to Spike Cave.
Yeah, instead we get 20 rupees as item number 2 out of Thieves Town is that lamp. And Phant is not going to continue on, choosing to take the Death Warp and head back to the start. So no small key does mean that the dungeon is, part of the dungeon is at least hammer locked. So Phant is going to wait before, or I guess it is a pendant too. So just taking those first 4 items. Nothing on the mountain for Zero Rush, and Zero Rush is just down to a mushroom at this point.
Yeah, probably see him turn that in quickly. But I don't think the going to the mountain there is very bad for him, because it's that save and quit point is nice, and you're going to have to get it at some point.
Yeah, you don't have to like make the entire climb again, so it's very nice to have that point. And we see Phant or Zero Rush doing that Fate Flipper we were talking about earlier, heading to this portal in the swamp area and gets spit out right next to the witch hut.
Yep, and we saw our first battle over there on Phant's side. I can't really check Sick Quid right now because we don't have the mirror, so we'll probably have to put that off for a little while.
Yeah, Phant's gonna go check out the dig game, and then after that, I assume he's gonna grab our frog friend and take him on a little tour of South Dark World.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense because we don't have the mirror, so if we're going to turn in, it'll be a bit of a while before you turn in the Smith, and there's not really that many more overworld checks left available to them. Just Hype Cave is, I guess, the main one, but other than that, you don't want to end up having to, and they don't even have access to any other dungeons. Like, we don't currently have access to Palace of Darkness in Logic.
Nope, you have to do a bomb jump across for that one. So, taking these gloves, Zero Rush, instead of going to the Dark World, is going to head over to Eastern Palace.
Yeah, we saw that book over there in the dig game, so that gives us access to Desert Palace, which if it's not Boots Lock, that's a dungeon they can full clear right now.
Ramp from Thieves Town. And Phant getting a little lost here, getting back up. He's going to grab this frog. Our Smith friend hopping around, waiting for some attention. His half magic is in Sarasala's hut. Zero Rush chooses not to go to Eastern Palace, does save and quit.
Yeah, I like that play because Saha's hut is a lot quicker to check than dipping Eastern with no bow. So you might be a little worried that your opponent might have checked that early, and you want to kind of protect yourself from your opponent getting something that good from those 3 items before you go to the Dark World. Maybe it's the hammer, which should save you a lot of time on routing. And if not, you lose a little bit of time if you got to combo that in later, but it's a pretty quick 3 checks.
Yeah, we know we'll find a mirror at some point. Swamp Palace is required, but and with no sign of the mirror so far, no boots, it doesn't make too much sense to put off that Sarasala's hut check until later.
Yeah, and we'll see what we get here, because I think this is kind of one of the rare times where it might be worth it to do a mirrorless purple chest. Or not with the hammer, though, now. Now we got other options. Because at that point, before that hammer, Desert Palace was one of the main things we had left, and you have to go to Kakariko to turn in the Smith anyway. But yeah, not anymore. That hammer gives you a lot of much better options.
Yeah, it's a very big find for Phant, and it's going to take Zero Rush a long time to get over to that hammer. There's no quick way to do it. You're either going to be walking through the Southwest Dark World and doing whatever checks you're going to do there, or you're going to speculate and do a bomb jump across the river. I don't see that happening.
Yeah, I think we'll probably just see Zero Rush do basically the same thing that Phant did and just get down to that Hype Cave at around the same time. So yeah, Phant has to take this Smith back, and then has a bit of options with the hammer, but not all of them are that great. So maybe you still do want to go to Desert, and that could put the mirrorless purple chest into play, because we can go over to Pod, but Pod's a pendant, so don't necessarily want to do it. It is 5 items, and we don't care that we don't have the bow, because I mean, I guess it could be bow locked, but you could buy a potion to sequence break that.
Yeah. As Sick Kid only has some bombs for the pleasure of looking at a bottle, and we'll find out what the Smith has.
Yeah, and also for Phant's side, he has not seen a Gina yet, so he might be even more incentivized to go over to try to clear out Crystal Desert, or see at least if it's boost locked or not.
That will make that decision a lot easier. That flute is going to give quick access to the desert area.
Yeah, that's definitely a nice find here. So yeah, I think with that flute, I think you just follow that immediately. Maybe you check out the Misery Mire medallion before doing Desert, or maybe you do Desert first, because you have to do save and quit after Misery Mire, unless you get lucky and pull the mirror out of the Mire Shed.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Zero Rush did make a check on the big key chest in Skull Woods that Phant skipped out on. It had the big key itself. So we'll see. We're going to look at one more chest before Zero Rush gets locked out of Skull Woods. We'll see if that second item is there. If it's something like a fire rod or a bow, that would be a big shift in this race.
Yeah, because it'll be a long time before Phant goes back for the last item in Skullwoods, unless it's the Fire Rod, but it's going to be in the back today.
Yeah, the second item will be in the back. We find our last small key in Skullwoods in the big chest. And with this flute, Phant heading up the mountain will rescue the old man. We'll not be able to do a lot up here, as we already know from Zero Rush's side, but with that flute, not going to lose much time getting back out of this area.
Yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense to rescue the old man right now for that save and quit point for Phant, because he doesn't have the mirror, so he might be going somewhere like the mire area that you're going to save and quit out of, and maybe you're thinking, okay, I might get the hook shot of the mirror after doing desert and the mire shed, and that might incentivize you to save and quit up here.
We'll see if Zero Rush hops in Thieves Town and gets that lamp or not.
Yeah, the lamp is important.
I think on Zero's side, he's got to be feeling a little bit behind with how late those mitts came to him.
Yeah, I think with the lamp is actually pretty important here, because normally when you get to the semifinals, you're not worried about the darkroom aspect of the lamp, but that's our first fire source. And with the book and the glove and the lamp, you can clear out Desert Palace as long as it's not boots locked, which could be an important play right now.
Yeah, nothing on Desert Ledge as Phant does just choose to head into Desert. We'll find out if this is boots locked or not. Zero Rush does bail after the first 4 Thieves Town, or bails after the first.
I don't think he even went in.
Town.
Did he even go in?
No, he did not. He skipped out in Thieves Town. So got the bottle out of Brewery, but did not head into Thieves Town. So not going to pick up that lamp as of yet.
Yeah, it'll be interesting if Desert Palace is not boots locked and has progression, then that could be pretty big, because we don't know where that fire rod's going to show up, and you need some sort of fire source to beat Desert.
No lock as of yet. The small key in the map chest will get us 2 more looks here on the right-hand side.
Yep, and this is a pretty nice route here by Phant. Not even worrying about the torch right now, because if he goes over to the right side here and just doesn't find the big key, he knows it has to be on the torch, and then he can just jump down to do Agina right now.
Yeah, and then after that, flute up and do the dark side, do Mire Shed, find out what your medallion is. There is the big key, though, so this dungeon is going to be full clearable without boots.
Yeah, and we'll see. Without the lamp, Zero Rush is going to have a little bit. His options aren't going to be quite as good as Phant, because Phant had like a 50-50 shot at being able to full clear this dungeon, whereas Zero Rush will not have this option, and he'll kind of have like hammer pegs. The hammer will give him hammer pegs and a couple of chests in pod, or the 1 check in pod if it's not bow locked, and some more if it is. No.
Yeah, not only that, we have compass on the torch, so both items will be grabbable out of Desert without boots. There's a Master Sword as our first item.
Yep, that'll be convenient. Won't have to worry about doing Aghanim for it, because we've got the hammer already, so Aghanim is officially not on anyone's mind. It was potentially logically required before we got that hammer, because we didn't have East Dark World assets, but now we just get to use the Master Sword. Just convenience for killing things faster. And Zero Rush about to get his hammer from the generous guy in Hype Cave. Oh yeah, Chad was pointing out that Lumberjack could still have our item, and maybe we will need to do Aghanim for that. We'll need to find the boots first, but yes, definitely keeping us honest.
Yeah, I doubt we're going to find out what's on Lumberjack Ledge unless it is something and someone blind checks it at this point.
Yeah, it would have to be like you get the mirror and then you do the North Dark World checks and you have the boots. Maybe you decide to take a peek there.
Yeah, Zero Rush gonna take a look at our pyramid for the first time.
Yeah, we'll see how long. He could even go all the way up to Catfish on this world tour here, and it might make a lot of sense for him because Phant has not done Zora area yet, so perhaps he was putting off Catfish because you can combo that in with the mirror. But for Zero Rush, Catfish is kind of just going to be a pretty bad check for a while. I guess you can combo it in with the Graveyard Ledge and some other stuff, but it's not going to be that great then.
Just a 20 on the pyramid, and Zero Rush not saving quitting. I think he's going to do what you said there and head over to Catfish. Yeah, this is about the only good time we're gonna have, with no guarantee of boots anytime soon, to walk over to Catfish and take a look at what he's got in his mouth.
And meanwhile, Phant doing Lamolas, not having any rods, so just having to use the Master Sword spins and the hammer. The quirk about the Lamolas is that normally spins do twice as much damage as the slash, but with Master Sword, spins do 4 times as much damage because Master Sword and Fighter Sword slashes are the same against Lamolas.
Yeah. And guess the first item in Desert was in a Compass Chest, because just a map on the boss. That's going to be it for Desert. That's crystal number 1 for Phant, taking a 1-0 lead so far in this race. Meanwhile, Zero Rush showing us that the rock circle is very generous in its hitboxes sometimes, and Catfish giving us a mirror shield.
Yeah, I'm not going to need that to complete this seed, so Phant won't miss out if he decides not to ever check that. And we'll see. So if this that lamp could still also be a fire source to get some items in Misery Mire as well. There's only the 2 items now in Misery Mire, so you probably won't think about that until you get the cane. But we'll have to see when Zero Rush elects to go get that. It will get the lamp. I think it would actually. We were talking about mirrorless purple chest earlier. It might make even more sense for Zero Rush because you can also combo that in with the first 4 of Thieves, or even more if you want.
Yeah, absolutely. Meanwhile, Phant is going to head over and take a look at Mire Shed and find out what the medallion he needs for Misery Mire. Getting a bunch of information here. If he doesn't get murdered, Dactyl, it is Bombos, and we know that is at the Waterfall Cave. So Misery Mire logically locked by the Flippers, as well as 2 of our other crystal dungeons, Swamp and Ice.
Yeah, that's good information to have for sure. So that'll be nice for Zero Rush, at least when he goes over there and sees that that's flipper locked, because then you obviously don't have to go in there to look for the flippers or anything else that you find that would end up being flipper locked.
Zero Rush grabbing that flute, and we'll see where Phant heads out from here, doing a save and quit out of the Mire area, and is off to potentially Pod.
Yeah, looks like it. Pendant Pod is known to have good items. You can't full clear it yet, but you can at least maybe get some of the items. He doesn't have a potion though, so
yeah, I'm kind of surprised not having a potion. Well, you didn't stop off and just like hop into Cat Creek or something and buy a potion first. Maybe.
Yeah, with the flute, you could just go right to the witch's hut to get him pretty quick.
Yeah, that's even faster. So, I don't know if Phant is comfortable with a mimic clip, but won't have that option for a potion glitch to get past the bow locked room.
Yeah, we'll get to see if Pod is bow locked or not, and then if so, we'll see if if not, we'll get to see if there's going to be the goods here in Pod today.
Zero Rush heading immediately to the Mire area, sees that it's Bombos, doesn't have a fire source, so I'll be shocked if he hops in there.
Yeah, and can't even get across the gap in Misery Mire yet.
Oh, yeah, it doesn't matter anyways. So you're absolutely right there. Pod is hard bow locked. We have 10 bombs in the first chest. And Phant not heading out immediately, so gonna see an attempt at a mimic clip here.
Yep, seems like he'll do a mimic clip, otherwise you would have save and quit here. Also, you probably wouldn't go to Pod before Saha's Hut and Eastern if you were deciding to either dip a pendant or dip a non-full clearable Eastern, so I'm sure he is feeling pretty good about his ability to do mimic clip here. And looks like Zero Rush is going to show a Spike Cave here.
Yeah, Spike Cave and Logic. This is a zesty one. If there's something here, this might be a location that takes Phant quite a while to get back to. Phant's already been up the mountain.
Yeah, probably won't be going up the mountain again until we get either the mirror or the hook shot.
And Zero Rush does have that half magic too. That was in Saraso's hut, so not going to have any issues making the Spike Cave play.
And we see Phant going for this mimic clip glitch where you just try to get that mimic to be clipped a little bit in the wall, and then he can go out of bounds. You can see the mimic's moving a little bit inside the wall, and there he got it. So now a relatively painless mimic clip there.
Nicely done. Nicely done with that mimic clip on Phant's side.
Not even using any selector pause buffers there, so you can tell that that's something he practices.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, Spike Cave did not pay off for Zero Rush, and Zero's going to head back into the Dark World here in Village Outcast. We could see a purple chest. We could see the first floor of Thieves Town at this point. A lot of options for Zero Rush here.
Yeah, he could even full clear Thieves if he wanted to with that hammer. We'll see how far he elects to go. The lamp might actually be enough to push you out, because then you can do purple chest plus desert, but we'll see what Zero Rush decides to do.
Phant choosing not to just walk it around after missing this bomb trick. I've seen some runners throw that bomb and then immediately fall in, so they get respawned at the door right next to those switches and get across that way. It's a cute little trick there.
And still haven't found anything of note here in Palace of Darkness.
No keys in the Rupee room, so I believe that definitely means the Harmless Hellway is going to have just a key. That might be a 5-key front, and then those bombs in the shooter room.
Yeah, I agree. Problem, because then if that wasn't a key, then you'd have to do a lot of backtracking, because you don't want to leave that center door unopened when you do the Bollock side like this, because then you have to do the Bollock side again just to come back for a key.
Oh, big key in the front, chat pointing out. So 4-key front, and then so Phant's going to be in a weird spot if there's something on the boss, which we won't know for a long time. It's a Fire Rod in the Dark Maze. That's a pretty big pickup for Phant.
Yeah, absolutely. You're going to need to use that to beat Skull Woods at some point. So it really only gives him the one item in Skull Woods as far as progression at this point. But you definitely like finding that here. You don't feel bad about your trip to pod here. But you know that is bow locked, so you're not going to find a bow in the Skull Woods.
Well, you could still find a second bow in Skull Woods. There are 2 bows in the pool. But your first bow is not going to be in Skull Woods, that's for sure.
And there has been known to be some bow-locked bows in this game.
That's never happened before.
So yeah, Phant's going to go back to Skull Woods, and this also could be good for him if Zero Rush pulled something out of Thieves Town here. Then I think Phant might be tempted, because Phant's kind of low on locations left to check at this point. He's got the Saha Eastern area, got Purple Chest, but Thieves Town may be interesting to him. For I believe there's 2 items left for him in Thieves Town.
Yeah, there's 2 items left in Thieves Town in the backside. We're starting to look at Eastern Palace as a potential location for items. It's something both the runners have avoided, and there's not a lot of options left for them combined.
Yeah, there really isn't. Purple Chest has not been seen by either runner. These few checks that we're going to see on Zero Rush's side have not been seen, but we're running pretty low. I don't think we've seen hammer pegs either.
No, we've not. We'll probably sit out of Zero Rush after he gets done with Thieves Town, as we just get a compass in the back. No small key means that the small key is locked away in the big chest, and our last item is going to be on blind.
Yeah, we'll see if it's going to be anything.
Is Phant taking a beating trying to get to this big key chest in Skull Woods?
Yeah, down to the 1 heart too, so we're going to have to be careful. Probably going to want to take a death at some point around here, because you don't want to go into the Mothula with the 1 heart.
Yeah, almost certainly going to take a death out of the big key room. Using this boomerang to get these Gibdos stunned. The hookshot doesn't stun them, but the boomerang does. Meanwhile, on the left-hand side, Zero Rush going into a blind fight. Don't expect any issues out of this fight for Zero Rush. This is one of those fights that if you know how to control it, it goes the same way every time. Well done from them. And yep, Phant getting that death warp out of the big key room. Won't have to worry about pushing that statue again.
Yeah, and that was just a red rupee there on blind, so really nothing there from in Thieves Town for Zero Rush. So yeah, we're getting down to some pretty annoying checks left with the not fully clearable Eastern Palace and Purple Chest, and Hammer Pegs.
Yeah, I think Eastern Palace would be glowing red for me if I was in one of these runner seats at this point.
Yeah, especially for Phant, because he hasn't done Saha's Hut yet, so there's 3 click items over there, whereas Zero Rush, he'd have to be hard committing to going into Eastern Palace to go over there. I guess you could think about going to Pod afterwards, but we'll see.
Just a piece of heart in Hammer Pegs as Zero Rush releasing that B. So Zero Rush is likely going to go buy a potion, turn in this purple chest, save and quit, or not even save and quit after that, but then head over to Pod and Eastern, do those in some order. But get rid of that B swing, buy potion, do potion glitch.
Yeah, I think we'll see a desert clear from Zero Rush first, but yeah, then I agree. Probably buy a potion, go over to Pod if he doesn't find something in this purple chest like a bow that would change that course of action.
How about some bombs? Does that change your course of action?
I don't think so.
No.
So yeah, we're really down to just the Eastern Palace dip. So we'll see if it's going to be something like a bow or flippers or what we're going to get. Hook shot, mirror.
Yeah, Zero Rush does have a highly out of logic option. I would be surprised if he takes it, but Ice Palace is open to him.
Yeah, both these runners actually have Ice Palace. One of them went through different ways because Phant's got the Fire Rod out of logic. Zero Rush has the Bombos out of logic. So you could double out of logic with getting theirs out of logic, and so is getting in.
And you called it. Zero Rush is headed over to Desert. Can take a look and see that this dungeon is full clearable. Meanwhile, a well-executed Moth of the fight on Phant's side, picking up crystal number 2. It's 2 crystals to 0 at this point. And our last item in Skullwoods is on the bridge.
Yeah, we'll see what we get here. Could won't be one of the bows, but could be anything else.
The cape is doesn't really do anything here at this point.
Nope, we've seen Bumper Ledge. I don't remember which one of the runners checked it. I think it might have been Phant, and it was nothing.
Yeah, Phant checked a little bit earlier. Saw it was just, I think, 10 arrows or something. Decides to save and quit, so no purple chest check from Phant, which will pay off. And here is the Eastern play. Lisa Sarasso play. So half magic coming for Phant here in a moment. We'll see if he continues on. Having already cleared out Pod, I think Eastern makes a ton of sense here.
Yeah, I think with him already electing to say no to Rest of Thieves Town and Purple Chest, it's really his only option. He'd have to, if he was going to do those other things, he would have done those when he was over there. But it makes a lot of sense because Phant's got the 3 extra items here, having never been to Saha. He'd feel really bad if he found something like the mirror in here because you always worry your opponent could check it early. But half magic, you're fine having not gotten that for a while.
Yeah, absolutely. So Eastern Palace probably is going to have a set of flippers or a mirror. Those are the 2 most likely options. Potentially a hook shot as well.
Yeah, because we know that the bow will just give us more of Eastern and the Fire Rod and potentially another item in Pod. But not very much. So yeah, like you're saying, we could also even get the boots. The boots gives you 2 items plus Mire access. So
well, the Mire access is still out of logic by flippers.
That's true, yeah.
So yeah, this is almost certainly going to be mirror or flippers.
Yeah.
Chest 1's a big key, so potential. Powder is our first item at Eastern Palace. That does open up one more check in Kakariko Village.
Yeah, and with the fact that there's only 2 other chances to get progression in here, we know there has to be something that could be required. We could have 2 fetch quests that have progression on them this seed. So we'll get a look at the next 2 or 3 chests. Might not have to do the vanilla big key chest like you're mentioning, but now you'll probably see that because there's still 2 items left and 2 chests we can get to.
Yep. Yeah, map kills the no big key chest dream dead. Although some runners I know do like to gamble and just say that big key chest doesn't exist, but in the semifinals of a tournament, I don't think you can make that play.
Yeah, I don't think any runner is going to make that decision in this situation where well, I guess Phant doesn't know it as much as we do or as much as zerorush does, that this is your progression. Like if you're not going to bet it all on the powder here. Sometimes if you're like, okay, we got 30 locations left and I'm looking for one thing, then yeah, you can make sense to skip it.
Yeah, and zerorush is heading straight to Eastern Palace as well. We'll get that powder shortly, and if there isn't an item here in the big key chest, the powder is going to be leading to our progression in some form or fashion. And Phant can use his cape to do the skip, and it's a Cane of Samaria, so that is more of the Misery Mire puzzle, but that is not actual progression here, and it is going to be on that magic bat.
Yeah, and that's really nice to get, I think, because that you might be thinking the flippers are probably going to show up soon. Just given that Cane of Samaria, I think, gives the game away a little bit because we know flippers will give us bombos, and then we have ability to do Mire soon. But you can also sequence Break Ice Palace pretty painfully free now with that cane.
Yeah, and we still actually can't get into Mire. No hook shot, no boots, like you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
So Ice Palace is looking more and more like the next step in the logic train, and to do that, we're going to need a pair of flippers.
Yeah, and of course we could just get a mirror here, which would give us access to a whole lot of other stuff. But we'll see. What is Magic Bat going to give us today? And it's the mirror.
It is the mirror. It's the other of the 2 options. So that'll give us access to all of Death Mountain, except for Hookshot Cave, and that'll give us access to a couple overworld locations in the Dark World.
Yeah, I think so. The mirror checks in like the overworld are kind of annoying to do right now, but I think the mirror is probably the better of the 2 options. That just gives you more checks at this point. You'd probably be following more breadcrumbs to get one item here again if we got the flippers.
Yeah, it's going to make for a less linear seed and more options for our runners for sure. Phant taking this mirror and immediately heading over to Death Mountain. Going to head across this bridge. Do Tower of Hera. No hook shot, no problem. And you can't put it off at this point. It is a crystal. It's a 5/6 crystal. It's going to open up 2 other items besides the 2 in it.
Yeah, I think on this Death Mountain trip, the one thing that I would be rooting for here if I was a runner is for Turtle Rock to not be Quake Medallion, because I don't know if you want to, because the Turtle Rock dip here seems like a pretty good idea, but you just like to not have the option to have to do it.
Let's see if literacy pays off. Not at this tablet, just 50 rupees.
And zerorush heading over to get his mirror as well.
Yep, and I would not be surprised for zerorush to make the same play ahead of Death Mountain at this point. zerorush has even fewer options on the table.
So we'll see where zerorush likes to go. You got to figure he's going to go to the mountain. Chad has been mentioning that you could also sequence break Ice Palace if you're feeling like that, because with the Icebreaker, full clearing Ice Palace is not nearly as painful as it used to be. So maybe you figure you clear the crystal anyway, but going to go up the mountain.
I would be surprised at that play. Right now we're looking at flippers, bow, hook shot for go mode. And flippers can't be in Ice Palace. The other 2 can. But I can't see making an Ice Palace play over the other in-logic options at this point.
And so, yeah, we'll have to see when zerorush actually goes to the pod, though, to get that fire rod. I think that's the one thing that could really trip him up, especially if we get more progression like the hook shot up here on the mountain, because you're just going to get so many more options to do instead of that.
Yeah, the one nice thing about not having the fire rod coming up here is it makes that if Turtle Rock is Quake, it'll make a dip into Turtle Rock much less palatable for Zero Rush than it will be for Phant.
Yeah, and that's a good point. If you know your fire rod is bow locked, you know you're not going to get one of the bows in Turtle Rock. There's nothing preventing the second bow being there. But with being as close to go mode as the runners are, maybe makes Turtle Rock a little less appealing.
Crystal number 3 for Phant is Tire Hera down. Zero Rush following in footsteps, making the climb. And we are off to East Death Mountain for the first time in 50 minutes.
Yep, a lot of items over here, and we can even do the Dark Death Mountain coming down as well.
Yeah, having the mirror, having access. There's those flippers on the floating island, so that's going to tie everything but this fire rod into a bow. What the fire rod just needs a bow.
Yep, so bow and hookshot now at this point, and then the chance for GT being locked with by the boots.
Zero Rush tried to do the bomb jump on to get to the big chest and failed it, taking a dip all the way back to the entrance. Shovel in Spiral Cave for Phant.
Yeah, we'll see if that shovel is required as well as the other two fetch quests were today, but probably won't see that check for a while.
I like this ordering from Phant. Going to go through and do Super Bunny Cave, get up top, and then
you mirror here, actually.
Yeah, mirror here.
Really
yeah,
nice.
Yeah, mirror here, do Paradox, come back down, and then do Super Bunny.
Yeah, it's really nice when you have the mirror and the mitts over here, and you can do this route. It's very nice and compact.
All right, 7 items here in Paradox Cave. We'll see if our bow is here. We'll see if our hookshot is here.
Yeah, with having those flippers, we don't necessarily need more progression up here because those flippers will give us a decent amount.
Yeah, the slippers put Ice Palace into lock. There's the boots, so no worries about any sort of big key shenanigans in GT at this point. Does open up a couple checks that are mildly annoying.
Yeah, and also importantly, that will give Misery Mire access with the flippers now putting Bombos in logic. So
will also give us another item here in logic in Hookshot Cave, the bonkable chest. I don't know if Phant's up for some hovering or not. We'll see if see what happens once he gets into Hookshot Cave.
Yeah, hovering Hookshot Cave would be a bit. I don't think it's worth it this seed because you can really only get the bow because they're bow and hookshot from go mode, so you would be getting a bow. And Phant already has a little bit of inside information about the bow, knowing that it locks the fire rod, so it's got to be somewhere.
Some fresh threads in Super Bunny Cave. The freshest of threads is Phant now on red mail. And Phant is going to take a look at Turtle Rock, and we'll see if it is Quake. It is Ether, so that's good news. That is very good news for Phant.
Yeah, I would be a big fan of finding the Ether Medallion being required there because you're not going to have to do that for either runner. Because with the flippers up there, Zero Rush would be tempted if it was Bombos too, because then his Bombos becomes in logic as soon as he gets those.
Absolutely. And just a piece of heart. Phant is going to hover. This is an interesting choice. I'm with you on this one. I don't think it really makes a ton of sense for Phant to do this.
Yeah, there's nothing stopping a bow from being over here, but it really depends how confident you are in your hovering. If you can do it pretty quickly, then I guess why not? Maybe you could even get like a tempered sword or something as like a consolation prize. Because with every failed hover, you're giving your opponent here a chance to catch up on you or extend their lead, depending on where they're at.
Yeah, I would take a big 3 strikes you're out policy on this one, but Phant's going to keep at it.
Yeah, this could also be a meta game because Zero Rush also can hover, so you might be kind of protecting yourself because you know that Zero Rush is most likely going to hover this. So you don't want, if you're able to hover, you don't want to get burned by hovering to a bow here. But I think at this point he's making the right decision to kind of cut his losses and go on.
Yeah, I agree. Gonna go grab these flippers here in just a moment. Zero Rush taking a little more traditional route here on the Death Mountain is going to open up the Turtle Rock portal, find out that it's Ether, and we'll get to ignore that safely. Got to feel good about that too from Zero Rush's side, not having Turtle Rock open immediately to you. Meanwhile, Phant with these flippers is heading directly to Ice Palace.
Yeah, we'll see if he wants to do the other flipper checks before or after.
It's going to do the flipper checks beforehand, so it's going to get this Bombos for Meyer.
Well, we'll see. You might want to just do Hobo and then come back because he doesn't have any reason to go over into the pod area and mirror over here until you start going to like the pyramid, and at that point he'll be carrying the big bomb, so it won't be nice. So yeah, it definitely makes sense to do this Hobo now. We'll see if he wants to do Ice Palace before or after the flipper checks.
Yeah, with Icebreaker, full clearing Ice Palace is not nearly the bear that it has been in the past. Zero Rush is going to try and do a hover as well as using this Samaria to clear out the jellyfish.
He gets the first hover.
First hover down, just gets a piece of heart in chest number 1. Chest number 2 is a bunch of cash, and one more hover. Look at that little guy go. Well done. Does get a temper sword as a payoff. That is actually pretty big with Cold Stare and Vitreous on the horizon as required bosses, and Argus.
Yeah, that's pretty big, I think, especially because, you're just going to save a lot of time on those bosses. We don't know if Phant will get that because it's pretty likely. It's like a 50-50 at this point. If Hookshot's going to be your go mode item or your bow. So you might not even check that.
What is Zero Rush doing here? We forgot to go. He forgot to cross over and grab those flippers. That's what he's doing.
Yeah, I think I'm not a hoverer, so maybe when you're hovering like that, you're just so focused on getting it right that it'll slip your mind to get the flippers up here. But it's good that he remembered that he forgot.
Yeah, you don't want to just leave here and flute off and like, I got the flippers now and ice. Oh no. Phant's gonna go hit the switch. So in case he finds both bow and hookshot here, can just clear out the rest of the dungeon, no issues.
Yeah, there have been stranger things in getting both of your go mode items in one dungeon.
I think the big lesson of this tournament is there's always progression in Ice Palace.
Zero Rush is going to be right on Phant's tail. So the main advantage that Phant has is that Fire Rod in Palace of Darkness. And we'll just have to see. Zero Rush will surely do Misery Mire and Ice Palace before going there because those are crystals you can full clear. But then we'll just have to see if he decides to get over to Pod.
Yeah, that Fire Rod location is pretty bad for Zero Rush right now.
One thing depending on where the hookshot and bow are, you could see a situation where, for instance, Phant gets to go mode Swamp Palace and Misery Mire, whereas Zero Rush doesn't, and that can save you a good amount of time. Speaking of a hookshot, there it is.
We're halfway there at Ice Palace, having everything we need.
Yeah, so I think that will come into play here because with the hookshot, you probably do Swamp Palace on the route as well with Misery Mire and Ice Palace. And there's a decent chance that Phant can just kind of guilt-free not do left side of Swamp, whereas Zero Rush may be more tempted to do it.
A very nice spin clip there from Phant. Interesting approach to this bomb jump. Works out for him, though.
Yeah, it's a nice if you know that setup works for you every time, that you can use it to save a good amount of time there.
Yeah, I've seen a similar one on the bottom side of the chest. I think either side works out about the same way.
Just 50 rupees there in the iced tea room. So yeah, I'm a bit curious to see which dungeon that Zero Rush will choose here between Swamp and Mire. Because on the one hand, Swamp has more items, but you might be able to go mode it if you got the bow from one of the locations. But on the other hand, if Mire's big key's in a good location, then you could save a lot of time go moding that.
Exactly. Our third item out of Ice Palace is just 10 arrows, so no bow in Ice Palace. Do get the hook shot though, which is part of the puzzle.
And we'll get to see Phant's on Master Sword still here, having half magic and Fire Rod. I guess it's probably a bit of a wash because you got Tempered Sword on Zero Rush's side and Fire Rod on Phant's side, so it should be about equal in terms of Cold Stare quickness. Yeah, I see Phant doing a nice job taking advantage of splash damage there, getting them in the corner, getting a really quick kill on Cold Stare there.
Yeah, very well done. It is Phant picking up crystal number 4. Meanwhile, Zero Rush doing the backwards bomb jump, very nicely done. That bomb jump, there are setups that are pretty free for it, but if you miss it, it's incredibly punishing.
Yeah, because like if you go that way, like if you fail the bomb jump going the way Phant did, you can still get to Ice Tea Room going the other way. But to get back to that one, you have to go back up through Ice Tea Room and do the bomb jump again.
Yeah, Phant does choose to do Waterfall Fairy after Ice Palace. We get this Bombos Medallion.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense because when you're this close to go mode, you're not thinking about orphaning catfish anymore. You're perfectly fine, and even you can do it with the mirror checks if you want. But these are quick checks that your opponent probably did already, so nice to button things up here.
We'll see if Phant actually goes and checks Zora after seeing this ledge. Does do it. I wouldn't have been surprised if Phant had just left.
Yeah, I just think Zora, you're not going to ever want to come back here again, so maybe save yourself from one of the bows being here. Zero Rush able to use that Tempered Sword to get rid of Cold Stare pretty quickly. And we'll see where these runners both elect to go next. I'm thinking you'll probably just see Mire and Swamp from them. We'll see if they both elect to take the same order for those dungeons, though.
Yeah, with Zero Rush needing 2 items and not 1, needing that bow and that Fire Rod, I wouldn't be surprised to see Swamp. It looks like Phant is going to head to Swamp as well. Just on a density perspective, this is the more dense play in terms of items.
Yeah, it looks like they're both heading over to Swamp Palace. And there's 6 items in here, so there's decent chance that you'll find one of the items you're looking for. If Phant finds a bow, he'll get to be in go mode right away and skip a bunch of chests. Looks like Zero is actually going to elect to do some of the mirror checks before going into Swamp.
Yeah, this is even if one of these is a bow, though, I don't know how well that works out for Zero Rush, considering where the Fire Rod's at.
Yeah, I agree, because it's, I mean, I guess the bow would put, because like Pot is bow locked, so we do need to find one of those before the siege should let us go get that Fire Rod. And yeah, Zero Rush is going to check that shovel, see if we do have all of the single fetch quests giving us items today. Nope.
No, 1 fetch quest not paying off. Reroll. Reroll the Plando.
And we saw a big key in that first item chest of Swamp Palace on Phant's side. We'll see if Zero Rush is going to go to Bombo's tab. It looks like he's going there as well, being pretty thorough before going into Swamp.
Yeah, if that big key is really nice. It makes the decision if you want to diver down left side Swamp a lot easier. You're not going to have to worry about finding a big key in the back and coming back in, or choosing to fight the stairwell.
Yeah, and for Zero Rush, if you're thinking about doing these 2 mirror checks, in the near future. I think it makes a lot of sense to do them now, because then if they pay off, you can skip some Swamp Palace.
Yeah, nothing in those mirror checks though. We'll see what Phant finds here in the map loop or compass loop, one of the other loops. I think this is compass chest.
Yeah, I believe this is the compass, and map is in the bombable wall chest.
Does find an item, so I wouldn't be surprised if this is an item in big chest, if Phant just chooses to go to the back looking for one item. But no, it's going to do left side. And getting those bombs out, getting set up for a diver down.
You get to save a little bit of time if you do this diver down. You could do, if you do left side first, you can do the diver down to save time, but you save even more time if you just don't do left side and there's nothing there. So we'll see if Zero Rush also elects to do left side here, or maybe you could skip it.
I think with Zero Rush having to find two items, Zero is much less likely to skip left side than Phant would have been. Very clean on Phant's side, getting that diver down.
Yeah, Cane of Samaria diver down is really nice and not too complicated of a trick to pull off, and saves a good amount of time, especially on the backside diver down. Would check these two chests and see if this left side, the time we've invested, Phant has invested here, is going to pay off.
Well, that's something a bow can fire, but not the weapon itself. And that's just a map. So nothing on left side swamp. We'll see if Zero Rush skips out on it.
Yeah, I think you could definitely see that, because Zero Rush has been pretty thorough, and really none of his thoroughness has paid off in any regard. So he might be feeling not as good. I know Zero Rush probably feels pretty good about his execution here, but if you're that thorough and your opponent just, like what we're seeing here, where Phant has just not done a lot of the checks that Zero Rush has done, you can lose a lot of time.
Yeah, Zero Rush did decide to skip out on left side swamp, so we'll end this dungeon with one item remaining. We'll see if Zero Rush decides to come back in at the end. $40 in the drown chests.
So we'll see. There's still an item on Argus, right?
Yeah, potentially. Yeah. We have compass and one item left. There's the compass, so an item is on Argus.
And Zero Rush will get to save a little bit of time on this fight, having the Tempered Sword here.
Yeah, it's actually a fairly significant amount of time.
Yeah, especially if you can pull off the zero cycle that Zero Rush is going for, and not able to get it, but it's going to try to rebound and get a fast one cycle, and gets it.
Yeah, meanwhile with the Master Sword, this is going to be... I think you can pull off a one cycle, but not at this rate. It's going to be a two cycle at least for Phant.
Nothing in Swamp Palace today.
Nothing at all in Swamp House. We'll see if Zero Rush goes back in for this one item. We're starting to feel a little gambly.
Yeah, and we're not down. We don't have that many locations left. We got all of Misery Mire, which is only 2 items. Then we have King's Tomb and Graveyard Ledge, and then Lumberjack, I believe. I'm not sure what else.
Zero is leaving this one item left side swamp out for last, so that's going to pay off in some time back for Zero Rush.
We also have the interior pyramid fairy.
Yeah, and that's where he's headed right now to do this big bomb. I wouldn't be shocked after this big bomb to see Zero Rush mirror West Side Breeze and take a look at what's at Lumberjack Ledge at this point.
I think you might want to do Mire first, but yeah, the North Dark World does have a good amount of items, which you can do with Lumberjack.
Like, you could loop it in with a graveyard ledge check, but this will be essentially the closest you're going to be to lumberjack ledge that you're ever going to be in the rest of this race.
All right, let's see if we can find a bow in here. We got bombs and the ice rod. So the ice rod's not really going to matter this seed unless our only bow is locked by Trinex.
And Phant, forgetting that there's no Aghanim portal, is going to have to walk this bomb around.
Yeah, and actually, the ice rod's going to be totally irrelevant because we can't have the first still locked by Trinex because fire rod's bow locked.
Correct. We'll get a King's Tomb look here out of Zero Rush's side.
Yeah, probably going to elect to leave Graveyard Ledge behind for a little while. Just do these first two much quicker boots checks. All right, so we just got Bonk Rocks left, and then Zero Rush is going to have to decide. Probably Mire at that point, because then you just have Graveyard Ledge or Misery Mire.
I think you do a lumberjack check at this point if you're Zero Rush. You're very close. You're two screens away from it.
That's true, yeah. And looks like that's where he's going.
Meanwhile, Phant is going to head into Misery Mire. So this is thoroughness versus crystals, and you've already seen two items in fetch quests in this seed so far. You're kind of feeling like maybe this is a scam. Just some bombs on lumberjack ledge though, and Zero Rush, given that time back, is going to head over to Misery Mire.
Yeah, so I think we're down to the two items here in Misery Mire plus the Graveyard Ledge at this point. From Zero Rush's perspective, we also have the first item of Pod.
There are also... okay, never mind. Zero Rush got all the items out of Hookshot Cave, but Phant did not.
Yes. So there's those three, and maybe you'd be tempted to go up there, especially if we find Ether Medallion in Mire.
Quiet you.
The good thing about it, so if we were to find Ether Medallion, Phant would know that you only have to look in the first, you don't have to check the Fire Alarm Lock side.
Yeah, whereas Zero Rush does not have that information. Compass on the bridge.
Yeah, we'll see just how deep the big key is today. Both these runners not able to go mode Misery Mire, so neither one will save a lot of time if it's in a good location, but it's already not in the first two really good locations.
Yeah, I think if the big key is in one of those first two locations, you still go mode the boss and just come back in.
Yeah, definitely a possible thing for the runners to choose to do, but not going to happen this seed with the big key being somewhere in the back. And there's our big key today, so maybe we'll see these runners elect to not do the cutscene chest. Looks like Phant's going to go, hey, do it anyway.
Yeah. Won't be surprised if Zero Rush actually skips the cutscene chest. The way Zero Rush has played the last 15 minutes of the seat, it definitely feels like from his seat he feels behind.
Yeah, because it's just that none of the locations he checked that are a bit out of the way ended up paying off for anything. Like doing purple chest, or doing those mirror checks, going to catfish, none of it really paid off.
Zero Rush is doing that skip, just finds a small key. We'll see if he pulls off this clip. Nicely done.
And we saw just a map in the cutscene chest, so Zero Rush not going to end up getting punished for not checking that there.
Yeah, unless the second item is on Vitreous, and then Zero Rush will have a decision about checking that cutscene chest.
Oh, I think if you already skipped it, and the 50-50 is good enough to let you just go to Vitreous, but we'll see.
300 rupees in big chest. small key there. Zero Rush checking items and just gonna head to the back. Does have that 50-50.
Seeing that it's a 50-50, and we know that the 50-50 is going to work out in his favor because the map is over in Compass Chest. We'll see if this is going to be the bow here or if it's going to be Graveyard Ledge for both these runners. But actually, Phant has other checks that he might consider before doing Graveyard Ledge. But I think that loop would be, because he still hasn't done Catfish either, or checked Lumberjack, so that would make a lot of sense from him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Doesn't look like Zero had the spooky action glitch ready, so going to see this the normal way here. Oh, he doesn't have Fire Rod. So he
doesn't have Fire Rod, so can't spooky action glitch. Does get a nice cane dash, though. That's one of the old ways.
Yes. And so Phant did kick up some dust there, so it looks like he's trying to set up the spooky action.
With a cape and a tempered sword, this will be a very quick fight for Zero Rush. Doesn't even have the cape out, just going to do NMG strats.
Yeah, so it's going to be a bit annoying on that big eyeball at the end, not having the bow to finish him off.
Anyone for tennis?
Let's see if Vitrius is going to be guarding a bow today. And he is.
He is guarding a bow. So Phant is very shortly going to be in go mode here. Meanwhile, Zero Rush now has logical access to that Fire Rod. We'll see how quickly he heads over to Pod and gets that Fire Rod.
Yeah, I mean, you got to imagine it's going to be pretty soon because Eastern Palace just has the one check left, and I don't even think it's an item. So with that bow being progression, I mean, he's going to do checkerboard cape here, but there's not that much else left. It's just that that bow is pretty deep, or the Fire Rod's pretty deep in Pod. And, okay, Phant's already done Skullwood, so he's going to have a lot of catch-up to do here.
Yeah, Zero Rush has Skullwoods and most of Pod before he can get to Ganon's Tower. Phant is going to be very quickly into go mode, or very quickly up into that climb after getting this bow.
Looks like Zero Rush is going to even do Graveyard Ledge before going into Pod or Eastern.
Yeah, this thoroughness that Zero Rush has shown most of the seed is going to start biting him in the butt here.
Yeah, I think maybe...
Phant's in go mode. Phant's off to Eastern Palace.
Yep, gonna have a quick clear, not gonna have to check anything. He's already cleared out Eastern. Oh, and Zero Rush apparently hasn't checked Bumper Ledge yet. Doesn't have the cape yet though, because I think that's also in Palace of Darkness.
I believe that is correct, yeah.
Because yeah, maybe Zero Rush is thinking that Pod's been available for a while. If it was bow locked, then well, I mean, at this level, you're probably expecting your opponent to sequence break it if it's bow locked, so you're thinking your opponent might have already gone there already.
Just some cash on Graveyard Ledge.
Oh yeah, chat pointing out that cape was in the bridge chest of Skullwoods.
That's right.
And Zero Rush is going to make his way over to Pod. He's going to have quite a bit of catching up to do. But if Phant doesn't ever get the Tempered Sword and that GT is sufficiently deep, there's a lot of execution still left in the seed.
Yeah, this sword difference is the real big thing between these two runners at this point. A lot of the rooms that are trivial in Ganon's Tower with Tempered Sword are a bit harder with just Master Sword. Especially near the end of the gauntlet.
Yeah, you're used to in NMG. You have the tempered sword, so you're kind of used to it with what you practice with, and a lot of strategies revolve around it. All right, Phant going into his Armos Knights fight here to get his last crystal.
Very nice quick kill setup. Almost had to get a little out of the way with that one Armos Knight. Does get it out of the way. Still very fast though. And there it is. That is crystal number 7 on Phant's side. It's time to climb.
Yeah, it's also time to start guessing some numbers where you think the big key is going to be in Ganon's Tower. There are, I'm sorry, there are, why is my brain making about 22 chests in DT where you can get the big key. So guess your number. And yeah, I normally guess 14 here, but what about you, James?
I'm not a big number guy in terms of Ganon's Tower, because these runners have so many different routes they want to do, things like that. But I'm going to say it's going to be in Rando Room in the back in the left-hand side.
Okay. Sometimes 14 often ends up in the Rando Room. That's why I like to pick it, but it's not normally the back left side. It's normally the front left or front right.
And our entertainment purposes only bot right now is giving us a little bit of a headache, so hopefully we'll get it sorted out before Phant gets ready to make that climb, heading over to the dark side of Death Mountain. And Phant, having not opened the Turtle Rock portal yet, is just going to take Super Bunny Cave up. Nice bomb jump, and actually really, really smart from ZeroRush here. Knowing you're just looking for items, you don't care about beating a boss. Just get to the most items you can as quickly as you can. Probably saves a good 30 seconds or so looping around Dark Maze.
Yeah, so Phant's going to be make a Skull Woods and Eastern Palace clear ahead here. It's interesting.
Why didn't you clear Eastern Palace?
Yeah, that was I'm wondering that too.
And Phant does hop into Hookshot Cave and get that Tempered Sword. That is something we had some speculation on after failing those hovers earlier. Does get that Tempered Sword, so that advantage that we thought ZeroRush is going to have is now gone.
Yeah, I think that's like I was mentioning earlier, it could be a bit of a meta play, because ZeroRush probably hovered that because he's fairly proficient at that trick. So you want to kind of cover your bases here and make sure that if there was a sword or silvers there, that you get it. So Phant's about to step foot into GT. We'll see where the guessing game takes us.
Now we're starting the climb, and we're starting off with right side, these 2 hope chests. So you hope the big key's here and you don't have to do anything difficult. You find a small key and 20 rupees, and Phant is going to continue on this right hand side.
Yep, so we saw the first, so we'll be on check number 3 coming down into this compass room. And ZeroRush able to get rid of Mothula. See, check number 3 is red rupees, 4 is 10 arrows, 5 is 3 bombs, and 6 is a piece of a heart. So still no big key there for Phant.
No. And Phant will grab this small key and head over the left-hand side. It's that ether on the torch.
That's a funny location for it, not being able to do Turtle Rock at all this seed. And unfortunately, Zero Rush has looked like he's going up to the mountain without doing it Eastern.
Oh no. Zero, no.
Okay, so that was check number 9, 10, and 11 here. Still no big key. So yeah, this is going to be a bit sad here when Zero Rush doesn't get GT to open. And he saw check number 12 as well, not the big key either. Just going to move on to Fire Snake Room and then Rando Room.
Yeah, this big key is very deep today. $13, just a small key. So Rando Room, here we go. And Zero Rush is having a moment.
Yeah, I got the bad news. All right, let's get a look at 14 is the big key today. So
Oh, it's
I got my
you!
guess. And he gets the silvers
and
too.
the silvers. What a nice little Rando Room.
Yep, didn't mirror immediately, able to get the silvers. So just got. Sorry.
Yeah, Phant smartly switching over to those irregular arrows, reducing a little bit of lag, hitting those switches. But yeah, Zero Rush forgetting that Eastern Palace is not complete yet. That is very, very unfortunate.
Yeah, I hate to see that happen in any race, really. At least one constellation probably not going to be the deciding factor of this race.
Probably not.
So all Phant's got to do is clear out the GT at a pretty sizable lead just from not doing a lot of checks that Zero Rush did and them not having anything.
Yeah, even if Zero Rush had completed Eastern when he was there, I think Phant would have been into the upstairs of GT.
Up on the climb, so it would have been really hard even if he had completed Eastern when he was there.
Yeah, this has been a pretty smooth gauntlet from Phant as well.
Going into Landmola's 2, has the silvers, misses the first shot on it a little bit, but gonna have a nice chance to clean up the 2 cycle here. The silvers were in Rando Room right next to the big key today. Phant opened all the chests after getting the big key and was rewarded with silver arrows. All right, so now Zero Rush is going to get to go up to GT for real this time.
See if he remembers he's got a portal up there, and if you take the long way around, you won't have to go into the dark world and come back around.
Yeah, I can save a little bit of time not having to go into the Turtle Rock entrance.
Phant's having a bit of a problem with this torch room.
Yeah,
definitely gonna have to wait for. Yeah, definitely have to wait for the jingle.
I risked it anyway, and looks like it's okay.
I would have waited. That was a sloppy torch room.
All right, I was wondering if he was going to check those chests, because there's really nothing left to find for Phant, so not surprised to see him not check any chests there.
Yeah, the difference between Tempered and Gold Sword is much less of a factor than the difference between Master and Tempered.
Yeah, if you can consistently get the double 1 cycle with Tempered, then Gold Sword really doesn't do much on that fight.
Yeah, and Zero does remember the portal, so saves himself a bit of time in that climb. Phant getting bullied a bit by Moldorm.
Yeah, being a bully today.
Does get through though. So the bad thing for Phant is after a mistake, or not for Phant, bad thing for ZeroRush is after a mistake like that, you're going to make some potentially interesting routing decisions in GT to make up some. And I can easily see ZeroRush doing a full right here.
Yeah, I didn't do the tile room gamble, so it doesn't feel too far behind, I guess. It's still relatively early. You don't know what your opponent ended up doing. Getting a bit of unfortunate patterns here for Phant on his Aga 2, but got that nice triple there to close it out.
Yeah, it was a really good triple. And ZeroRush is just going to get the key and mirror out and head to the left side. But for Phant, it's just one pig fight away from a Game 1 victory.
I believe this would be the first loss for ZeroRush, so in this tournament, if Phant's able to close it out here.
Yeah, ZeroRush was the overwhelming community favorite going into this tournament. And so far has played up to that level with not dropping a game. But Phant looking one fight away from putting a blemish on their record.
And using the cape here to try to get some quick cycles. Wasn't able to get the one cycle on the first phase, but having a half magic and the silver arrows, you're pretty free to use as much magic as you want here on this phase 1 and 2.
Yeah, keeping that cape on through the fire bats. And here we are into phase 3. And not getting any double setups, so it's going to have one more cycle of torch lighting. But no falls, no problems, and one bridge away from putting Game 1 on the board for Phant. Get those GGs ready. There you have it. Congratulations to Phant picking up the Game 1 victory in the semifinal, beating ZeroRush. Congratulations to Phant.
Yeah, we'll see if these runners are going to come in for an interview. Looks like ZeroRush is going to close out the race still.
And we are joined right now by Phant. Phant, congratulations on the victory. Nicely done today.
GGs, thank you so much, and thanks everybody for putting on a restream at such short notice. It's a very busy week for me. As I know usually you guys would like some more time, so I apologize in advance. But thank you for putting this together so soon.
And no worries. Seed wanted to troll you two a bit with locations on the hook shot and the bow. What made you decide to hop into pod so early and clip in and get that fire rod that actually ended up being the biggest difference in the race?
Really, that was the biggest difference in the race. So I'm trying to think back because my nerves are always going off the charts whenever I do one of these. So sometimes I have a little bit of trouble remembering. I think at that point, so let's see, I had Dark World access. I had just done the loop around to find the hammer, and I think at that point there wasn't too much left to do. There was Eastern and Pod, and I had the flute at that time. So I figured pod would be the better first choice because one, you can mimic clip. It's a lot of items, so I can go do it. But also I was hoping for a mirror because if you do pod first, you can just mirror out and then go check in and do Eastern on the off chance it was there. If like mirror had been an Eastern, which it kind of was because it was locked by powder, you can't really just go back and mirror to pod because you're already in light world. So I like doing it in that order if I have to, and that's exactly what I did. Then fire rod leading to nothing in Skull Woods after that, and he was like, okay, time for Eastern. That basically led to the end of the seed.
Yeah, both you got funneled in on that powder leading to Mirror and Eastern Palace, but Zero never decided to hop into Palace of Darkness until after finding that bow on Vitreous.
Real? Okay, yeah. What a rude spot for the bow, by the way.
It's not good.
I was putting off
not
Meyer for so long because well, I guess it wasn't too long. I think I only did like Pyramid Fairy after that, but it was essentially like I wanted to put that off very, very late because Master Sword only, no bow. Vitreous takes so long. It's not like difficult because we had like Red Mail, plenty of health, and Cape. It was just time consuming and tedious. I was hoping to be able to go mode Meyer, but
yeah, both you had very different sequence breaks in this seed. You had found the Fire Rod early, and Zero Rush had done a fake flipper and found that Bombos early, so knew that Meyer access was kind of locked in behind those flippers, but also decided to wait a long time to do Meyer even after finding the boots.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's understandable. Like Meyer without the tools to make it convenience is quite the slog. So yeah, I can see that. Yeah, so like fake flippers, yeah. So funny thing about that is when I got Fire Rod in Fire Rod and Pod, like for a minute I was like, I made a mistake or I spent a key to go into the Dark Maze, so I couldn't come back and check. At that point, I didn't need too much for go mode, so I was like, it's bow locked, whatever's in there, so it's not going to be a bow. I guess it could be silvers, so I wasn't too concerned about leaving that behind until I found a bow. And then after that, like Eastern led into pretty much everything else with the mirror and everything up top, but until I did the flippers checks to get Bombos, I was like, okay, this is great. I basically only need a bow. It can't be locked by Fire Rod, so it couldn't be an ice, it couldn't be that. Then Hookshot was an ice, so it couldn't be in Hookshot Cave or the back of Swamp. And then Bombo showed up and was like, well, shoot, there goes that logic.
Yeah, and that bow ended up being in behind that Bombos tablet. The other interesting thing at the end of the end of the race, you got your 7 crystals, and you decided to hop back into Hookshot Cave after trying to hover it earlier in the seed. Ended up being somewhat important with that Tempered Sword there. Were you always planning on heading back into that cave at that point?
If I am in a Master Sword Silverless situation, I almost always go back in there. I actually forgot. I was thinking like going to Hookshot Cave, going to Hookshot Cave, going to Hookshot Cave. Then I blitzed past it and had to run back a little bit because I remembered, oh, wait, got to go in there and get it. So thankfully there was a sword in there. But given the Silver's location, it wouldn't have been too much of an issue. That's also why I like bought a potion before heading up to GT, because if I have to do like Master Sword Silverless, I get the potion mainly so I could just cape in phase 1 and 2, get the spins in versus trying to just dodge the fire bats, and it takes a bajillion phases. I don't know how to do the Samaria strats for Master Sword Silverless Ganon, which are really good but also hard. So I need to add that onto my list so I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So anything else you got for us as Zero Rush does cross this finish line? Closing the race out at 1 hour, 40 minutes and 12 seconds. Get those GGs in chat for Zero Rush. Zero will not be joining us tonight for post-game commentary, but Phant, anything else before we get set up for game 2 later this week? Any final thoughts on this race?
Yeah, what a rude seed. So yeah, you had bow on Vitreous, you had flutes on blacksmiths, which I guess you could have made more efficient by the absolutely forced Eastern Palace double dip. You couldn't get away from that, given where the cane was.
Oh yeah, and
Hookshot being an Ice Palace.
Hookshot and Ice Palace, you had progression. You had your mitts on Witch Hut. Just a lot of very annoying locations for items in the set.
Yep, it sure was. So I'm kind of amazed like I finished it as fast as I did, because it seemed like most things kind of fell into my lap. Like I did the mushroom turn-in very early. That got me mitts. Then I took the smith right after that, got me flute. The only thing that kind of evaded me was Eastern Palace. I was a little bit worried there when I found that, because I figured Zero Rush would have gone there much earlier than I would have, just from what I've seen of his playstyle. But you know, who knows what he did this seed? I'll have to go watch the VOD back. But I was a little worried there, because the mirror naturally leads into the flute, which leads into pretty much everything else outside of that fire rod. So yeah, it was quite spooky seeing what was all the goodies in Eastern.
Yeah,
but that's all I had. But thank you guys for commentating, and you know, whoever we have on tracking and restreaming. And so thank you all for putting it together.
Absolutely, and thank you for the race. Congratulations again on the win, and we'll see when you guys get to game 2 on the schedule for this best of 3 series, and good luck to you in that race as well.
Yep, thanks a lot.
That is going to just about wrap it up for us tonight, Dane. A real annoying seed in terms of where these items are at, as Phant said. A lot of out of the way annoying locations for items, but turns out in the end that Phant does pull it off.
Yeah, a lot of getting bottlenecked by some fetch quests there, but both these owners are able to slog through it with Phant coming on top.
Yeah, if you do want to see these runners again, go give them a follow. You'll see their links in Twitch chat right now for you. Thanks again to Phant and Zero Rush for the show they put on tonight, and let's also give a shout out to our trackers. Miandium and Scupula doing the tracking for us tonight, making sure we can focus on all the racing and not have to worry about where everything's at all the time. So, Dane, it's been a pleasure as always.
Yes, same to you.
And that's going to be it for us tonight. Once again, we don't have game 2 on the schedule as of quite yet, but once we have it there, you'll be able to follow Zelda Speedruns and find out when the game 2 will be restreamed for you. So that'll do it for us, and we'll see you again next time. For Dane, I am James FNX. I hope you enjoyed it and have a good evening, and we'll see you again in the next race.
See you guys.